Review. I'm Hugh Harris, and I'm here with Coach Oscar Glasscock, and we're brought to you by Citizens Bank and Trust, Cullman Power Board, Target Pest Control, and Bill Smith, GMC Buick. And Coach, it was another hot night and a tough loss at Athens, 31-17, but Cullman played hard and was actually in the ball game for most of the game, but just came in on the short end.
Yeah, well, Athens, outstanding team. Cody Gross is doing, just a really awesome job there. They had no turnovers, very few penalties, virtually no negative plays. They really, really played well, especially offensively. And man, we had a lot of kids get banged up and hurt and not be able to finish the game, and most of that's due to just sort of the grind of the season. And I felt like offensively we moved the ball well. We had the one big turnover on the goal line, which really, really hurt us. And but outside of that, I thought we really played well offensively, and especially the offensive line really got a lot of movement on a really fine Athens defense. And a lot of our defensive issues are just due to personnel. Guys dropping out, and we're having to sort of piecemeal guys and get them in there. And it's just not the same when you don't have the the starters, the guys that have been prepared all week and been playing most of the reps this year. It's just tough for a guy to come in and be able to hold up. And it was just one of those kind of nights. It was they all the credit goes to Athens. They played outstanding.
Well, tell me, Coach, why is it that a turnover in the red zone or inside the 10 affects the mentality of your players so much more if it's out in midfield when you do that?
I think because it's so hard to get there, and and we have a methodical style on offense, and we want to snap the ball 12 to 15 times to score, and so we had snapped it a lot, drove down the field, kind of dominated, and everything's going your way, and then it's just like it's like the rug has slipped out from under you, and so it's to me, I think it's the emotional letdown. It's a great question. Because it's just like a game. You put your heart and soul into it all week, and then sometimes it doesn't go your way, and you have to rebound. You have no choice. You got to get up and go back to work. And it's the same thing on those long consuming drives. You go all the way down there, and then at the very end, when you're about to cash in, it slips away, and it's just really, really hard to come back from that. But you have to. That's one of those things that we have to. One of our themes is being stone cold to success or adversity, and we can't let it affect us, and we got to line up, and we got to get a stop and get the ball back and take it in and score.
And I'm certainly not being critical, because you see it. I've sat and wondered with pros, college,
Absolutely.
And high school, and it just seems like it really hurts more when you're inside that red zone than it does when you do.
No, I don't think there's any question. And we were struggling defensively. Like I said, having a lot of guys banged up and things, and they've got the best offensive line we've played against this year, and so we knew we were going to have to score to win this game. And so you get that close and you don't score, and then it just puts you further behind as far as how you got to come in and try to beat an opponent like Athens.
Well, let's look at first quarter here with Athens, and always play tough in Athens, but you had another hot night for some reason, but hopefully you're going to be better this week somewhat than you have been.
Yeah, that's the truth. It was steamy. It was a rough week. I know it was in the hundreds in several places around Alabama, and I think I've read somewhere where Jasper, Alabama on Thursday was the hottest place in the United States, and it's just but everybody's dealing with it. It's not just us. You can see their offensive line's really huge, and they really got some movement on us. We've got to play better up front. We're a spill team. We try to play underneath blocks where we're not trying to take on the full force of people that are pulling, and we didn't really get that done. Guys are battling. There's no question about it. But we're giving up a lot of size, as you can see. Take a very poor angle there. We don't get it turned in, and that's kind of an easier touchdown than it should be right there. Earlier in the year we make that play, but we're like I said, we're down some starters, and next man up. We got to get it done.
And we've talked for years about the importance of the offensive line. They probably don't get much attention, but you can see this bunch. they're hosses, and they're doing a good job.
Yeah.
It's really working good together.
That's right. And you see Max run the ball. We're running Max more and more as outstanding runner. We ran a lot of what we call the scissors trap, or looks like the buck sweep, but we're actually cutting it up and kicking out the 3 technique. You want to take shots or try to get to Isaiah. I really like to talk about the refereeing, but they were definitely going to let him play as far as the receiver and defensive back contact. And people got to, the rules are a lot different in high school than they are in college or pros, and I was a little disappointed to hear the explanations from the refs, but that's.
But you're on the road.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Anyway, so we didn't win or lose a game because of it, but you can see we're battling right here, but we got to make that tackle. That guy's super quick, but we got to use better technique as far as we keep just. You got to understand when a guy sees you, they're not going to just let you knock the crap out of them. I mean, they're going to drop their hips, they're going to make a move, and we got to understand that as tacklers. We really had a hard time getting off the field on 3rd down, and like I said, they had an excellent game plan, and see right there, Drew Ball's been out for a while. He's got the big club, and man, Drew, it takes a while to adjust. He came in and I thought did an outstanding job. He made some tackles, but unfortunately, he rolled his ankle later in the game, and he's going to be out again for a while. And man, football means so much to Drew, and it's just we hate it, but he'll be back. Just not sure when. So again, held him a field goal. That's big. Here we're running what we call the cross. You see Jalen Huey's not quite full speed. He had a deep thigh bruise against Hueytown, but man, again, our offensive line is really blocking well. And that defense is outstanding. I mean, there's not many people had much success against them. And see, Jaden Sullivan's running hard. We felt like their offensive line and offense was more physical than our defense. But I'm going to tell you, after watching the tape, I really felt like our offense and our offensive line in particular was more physical than their defense. So it kind of went both ways the other night. And
that's one thing we've watched this year is the growth of that offensive line. And they first game.
Really. They've become miles. I mean, if we put on that tape against Benjamin Russell from the spring and then put on the other night in Athens, I mean, it's a complete transformation. And, man, look, that's a credit to Coach Saint, Coach Hannah, and, our offensive staff. That's a point of emphasis in our program. Right. I mean, from day one when I got in here, it's like there's 2 areas that we're going to emphasize, and that's the offensive line and the defensive backfield. And, I feel like those are, those 2 groups have really performed well and gotten better. And all you can ask for a coach is that people get better over the course of the year, whether as an individual or as a unit.
And we got somewhat spoiled over the years too with the Britt boys and all the big offensive linemen.
Yeah, Zach Tubbs. I mean,
Tubbs,
there was seemed like we had some Division I type caliber guys. Especially when I was here coaching before, seemed like every year. And when we've got some good players, and we've got some young guys coming up, they're going to have a chance to become special players around here. I thought Evan Richard had his best game by far, and he's a big sophomore that's getting better every week. And man, he's a hard worker and a good kid, and he's got a bright future ahead of him.
We really enjoy seeing the progress that they've made, and looking forward to the coming years. But we're going to take a commercial break. This is a Cullman football review brought to you by the Cullman Power Board, Citizens Bank, also Target Pest Control, and GMC Buick and Bill Smith. So we'll be back after a commercial break.
With your Citizens Bank and Trust digital wallet, your busy life just got a lot less complicated. As a community bank, we know our customers, they're our neighbors and friends, and we know your banking needs. It's easy to use. Simply hold your phone up to the terminal at checkout. It's right there when you need it. No more searching for your card. Citizens Bank and Trust. Small bank, big difference. Member FDIC. Third-party fees for data, messaging, and internet may apply.
Of the many forces of nature that threaten our homes, one of the most menacing strikes without warning. Sound or fury. They're termites, and they cause billions in damage homeowners insurance won't cover. Fortunately, Termidor protects before termites become a problem. Because there's no forecasting when termites will strike.
Call Target Pest Control for a free termite inspection of your home. We aim to please.
First 6-function multi-pro tailgate, available only on the next generation GMC Sierra.
And welcome back to the Cullman Football Review. I'm here with Coach Oscar Glasscock, and we're looking back at our trip up to Athens last Friday night. They played hard, but we came out on the short end of the score. Coach, you just get them back on the field and work toward next week.
That's right. I mean, that's all you can do. I mean, like I said, you put your heart and soul into something and prepare and do everything you can. And sometimes you're disappointed, and that's true in life. And you got to get back up and go back to work, man. That's all the only choice. And we better, because we have a number 2 ranked Muscle Shoals Trojans waiting on us Thursday night.
Well, let's get on into the second quarter. Here we got a nice drive going.
Yeah, my favorite play right there, quarterback sneak. And I mean, you can see the surge. I mean, we're knocking back. Kind of hold the ball a little long right there. We got to get rid of the ball a little sooner. You know, we're going to take those shots in there, run the Sally play, miss a block right there, and Jake Dillon's really got some talent, and man, he can run the ball and catch, and he blocks great too. Try a little throwback. They got it covered up. You know, Max does a great job, and he was across the line of scrimmage, and you know, but I like the way he keeps his eyes downfield, and so we ended up having to go for the field goal right here. And again, Brody Adams has really been a nice surprise for us, a nice addition, and you know, for a guy who's never played football before, I mean, he's really done an outstanding job kicking off and everything as well. Good job, you know, getting contained right there. They were trying to hit the other side of the field, and man, our kickoff team has really been a huge plus as far as special teams go. And I mentioned that before, but Coach Morris just does a great job with it, and those guys have a lot of pride for what they're doing. Got to get that tackle right there. We're kind of diving a little bit, but you know, good effort getting back up. We're still, you know, we got guys running the football. Lose contain right there, and you know, again, that we've you know, ended up getting a face mask at the end too, and it's just, boy, you can't help them out any. Cody Lynn's continuing to play hard. I mean, he's been by far our most consistent defensive lineman, and you see him kind of hitting the ground. But they got us on our heels right there, and like I said, the penalty didn't help, and we got to correct that. I mean, you can't give them extra yardage, but they had an outstanding drive, and you know, really nobody's stopped Athens all year. I mean, they're a team that's really playing with a lot of unity. It's the best Athens team I've seen since 2006 when they won the state championship. I've coached against, when I was at Hartsville, we coached against them every year, and it is easily their best team in a while. And they know it, and the Smothers kid had transferred from there, and I believe that's kind of unified them in a lot of ways. Good hard running right here. See, Evan Richards dominated his guys on top of him, and get him jump right there. We've done a good job on the freeze this year. You know, not overusing it, but using it at the right times. Got quick little toss, you know, and Jaden, like I said, does a great job cutting it back.
Really a great run.
Yeah, and that's another inside trap right there. You know, it looks like we're going to go wide, but it will actually cut it up, and we're kicking out the 3 technique. And man, it's just a super play. You know, actually, it's kind of interesting. We got that play from Dafford Smith. You know, I went and visited him one day, and he said that was their best play all those years he ran the wing tee, and you know what, we put it in, it worked.
Well, he knew a little bit about
yeah, he
football,
sure did.
Oscar.
He sure did.
He and Coach Woodard.
No doubt. And this is, you know, it's what, like I said, it's kind of a neat thing to be running the same offense that, you know, kind of they ran during Cullman's sort of glory years, and you know, of course, you got to put a modern twist on it. But I think it's kind of a neat thing. And of course, we saw the fumble there. You know, Jalen's fighting for extra yardage. He's got the whole team there, and you know, end up, you know, knocking the ball loose. And man, you know, what a tough thing if we can score there, and then you know, we might have a chance to be tied early in the third quarter. But you know, that's the way it goes, and you know, nobody's trying to do anything to hurt us. I mean, we're fighting for extra yards, and sometimes that happens. I mean,
that defense still playing.
Yeah,
hard.
They're playing hard, and you know, and again, I thought they did a great job throwing the ball. I mean, they you know, they don't throw it a whole lot, but what they do, and it's just one time we really forced them to punt. And you know, it's big to hold them right there. You know, they take that in, and it's really going to be difficult to stay in the game. And they had a bad punt, and you know, we're in pretty good field position right here, and we get that touchdown in like where we're driving. It's again, here's the double handoff, Sally, and man, make a great, execute it great. And you see, anytime a running back's running out there with and nobody, he's not having to avoid anybody. You know that offensive line is doing their job.
Great throw and catch.
Yeah, and we're going to do more of this. We're going to expand that, you know, the Twins package out of that. And, man, Max does a great job. We've got some design runs for him, and he gets north and south in a hurry. And, you know, man, we're looking good again. And like I said, we really only stopped ourselves. I felt like a little miscommunication on the route right there. And, you know, we got to continue to run the route hard. And there's not much time in the clock. We had time for one more pass play. We're going to do it safe so we can still get a chance at the field goal. Man, we just barely. I mean, that's just barely missed that one. You know, from where I'm standing, it looks good, but you know, I'm at a side angle. You know, like I said, we get that field goal, or you know, we get that touchdown, or get both of those, and then man, it's a back and forth game for sure. And you know, this. You know, Athens, like I said, fine team, extremely well coached, playing together. The ball's kind of, you know, going their way a little bit this year, and they're excited up there. And, you know, I was proud of our kids' effort. And, you know, really the one turnover to me is kind of the difference in the game so far. Well,
one thing I've noticed is just over the year the improvement that the Doolin boys and also Jaden and Jalen have got at keeping to their lanes and getting behind their blocks. That's right. Sort of a feel thing where you gotta know where that blocker's taking that defender rather than what you see, and that's somewhat hard to do.
It's very different than what most modern offenses are running, that are running more zone schemes, and you know, you're kind of reading a cutback and you're reading a defender, or we're reading a block now. You know, we're pulling a guard, or we're leading with a wing back, or a fullback even, and it's a different type. And what I like about it, because it's different, you know, people have a hard time preparing for it. You know, they get a week, and it's so different. You know, I know from being on the other side of it, you know, you end up doing a lot of walking through, and the speed is really slow as far as how your scout team can show you the offense. And you know, when you hit Friday night and you're playing us, it's moving, you know, 100 miles an hour, and it takes a while to adjust to it. But hey, the bottom line is our backs are reading the blocks, you know, O-line's getting the blocks, and now we got to expand our passing game a little bit more, and I feel pretty good about where we are offensively, you know, especially in the first year.
All right, well, we can certainly see the improvement, but we're going to take a commercial break, and this is the Cullman Football Review, brought to you by Bill Smith GMC Buick, Target Pest Control, Cullman Power Board, and Citizens Bank. And we'll be back after a nice halftime show.
At Citizens Bank and Trust, your security is our top priority. Online statements eliminate the risk of your financial information getting lost in the mail. The statement can be viewed online at home or on the go, and you'll receive your statements faster each month. Plus, signing up is easy. At Citizens Bank and Trust, your security is our priority. Citizens Bank and Trust. Small bank, big difference. Member FDIC. Third-party fees for internet messaging and data may apply.
The world's first 6-function multi-pro tailgate, available only on the next generation GMC Sierra.
Of the many forces of nature that threaten our homes, one of the most menacing strikes without warning. Sound or fury. They're termites, and they cause billions in damage homeowners insurance won't cover. Fortunately, Termidor protects before termites become a problem. Because there's no forecasting when termites will strike.
Call Target Pest Control for a free termite inspection of your home. We aim to please.
gentlemen, the Cullman High School Bearcat Marching Band.
And welcome back to the Cullman Football Review. I'm here with Coach Oscar Glasscock, and we're reviewing last Friday night's trip to Athens. And we came out on the short end of the score, but we're seeing a lot of good things, even though we were down a lot of players and a lot of injuries at this point in the season. And, boy, you got to have sympathy for your defense on Friday night where they're facing those big old bodies each and every play that they had to play. So it's tough on them.
No, there's no doubt, and that's that's another reason that offensive scheme-wise, we really try to win the time of possession and control the clock. Listen, I've been on the other side on defense, and there's nothing more difficult to handle than that. When you're playing against a team that's a lot bigger and they can run the ball and move the ball, and then you get out there with an offense and they're throwing every down, and they're 3 and out, and about 20 seconds has gone off the clock, and your bunch is right back on the field. And so we're trying to prevent that because our defense is undersized. I mean, we're smart and we play hard, and the kids are well coached and things like that. But there is a talent discrepancy most Friday nights, and we got to try to protect those guys. And the best way to do it is an offense that can keep the ball, and you keep that other offense off the field.
All right. Well, let's get on into the third quarter and see if the Bearcats come out strong. We're getting the ball.
Try a little reverse on the opening kickoff. I mean, we're try to go for it. Probably one of the most ideal. They did a good job getting a lot of height on their kicks. But we come out right off the get-go. You see Jaden Sullivan, how strong he is. And, again, I thought we were a lot more physical than their defense. I felt like their offense was more physical than our defense. So it was one of those type of games. Run the rocket right here. We're kind of cutting it up a little bit more inside than normally. And, again, you see hard running but great blocking. Receivers are blocking hard. I mean, that's another thing that's underrated. I think Isaiah Jones has done an outstanding job out there. See our little cross option. Max does a super job carrying it out. I mean, he pitches it like he's been doing that his whole life. And, again, just hard running. And you see our offensive linemen just coming off the football. Look at their pad levels lower. I thought, Lane Smith had an outstanding game, his best game that I've seen him. I jumped a little bit right there, but outside of that, this may be our best drive of the year. I mean, it's just as far as just execution. We've thrown a drag right there on the waggle, doing a great job protecting. We get down here close to the goal line, you know what we're going to do, and look at that surge right there out of the O-line, and we're just. Hey, if it's first down there, we'll probably run this 4 times. And
I can call the play on that.
Yeah, that's right. So, again, just except for that one time we jumped off, just trying to draw them offside, that's probably our best drive of the year against just a super quality opponent right there.
And that's important to overcome that penalty too, and keep your drive growing.
That's right. And so we're seeing, we're able to throw. We're finding our personality in the pass game a little bit more like we found it in the run game, and again, if we don't have the turnover before halftime, or we hit that field goal, I mean, it's tied up, or if we get both, we're up, and we're in the game.
A couple of games earlier in the year, we struggled right after halftime, but it's good to see them come out and take that drive down the field.
And I think it's a mentality. We did have some time to run a few plays, which we did. And, man, we got another face mask penalty right there, and we just got to clean that up. It's not an intentional deal or a dirty play. It's just
something that happens.
Yeah, something happens sometimes, and our penalties have not been any kind of dirty play. They've mostly been effort plays, and pad level's better there. We got to continue to play lower than the offensive linemen do. I think that's a huge deal. They're carrying that little option on themselves, and that quarterback has a threat. He's super quick. We do a good job. You got your hands on him now. He wasn't a big kid, and he'd go down, but it's that's a tall order. Again, big physical receiver, and they were able to get the ball to him when they needed a few yards of passing game. Again, we're still kind of clawing and scratching and fighting, and man, we've got a defender assigned to that edge, and he got caught peeking inside like they do on all levels, and they get a touchdown to red zone. And I think our red zone defense has been outstanding, you know, a little bit on our heels right there now. We're 2 scores down, but again, our offense has been moving the football, and there's no need to panic. I mean, we just, you know, Isaiah makes a really nice return. He's being physical, and we're getting better in the weight room with him. Man, that was really just a freak. You know, that was one of those things that the back got in the way a little bit. The guard pulled just a little early and ended up having a bad snap. And Carson Hill's done just that was really. It wasn't just you look at it and just think it's a bad snap. Yeah. There was a couple little factors at hand that happened simultaneously, and man, I'm telling you what, nobody works harder than Carson Hill. You know, it's just unfortunate. You know how it is when you're. Sometimes when you have a bad snap, that's the only time you hear a kid's name. But, man, Carson's a guy, ever since we put him in the Decatur game, man, our offensive line is taken off. He brings a lot of athleticism, a lot of intelligence, and, you know, he's a kid that you can really tell that just, you know, persistence and hard work and things like that really pays off.
But you got to have the size and the strength in that center position as well as the mentality. You got to have a smart player in that position.
Yeah, and he's not where he's, you know, his strength-wise, he's still got a long way to go. He's still growing. He's baby-faced, and he's going to keep on developing. He's really going to be an outstanding player before his career's over. Okay.
Well, we're going to take a commercial break and be back with the 4th quarter, but this is the Cullman Football Review brought to you by Cullman Power Board, Citizens Bank and Trust, Target Pest Control, and Bill Smith at GMC and Buick. And we'll be back with the 4th quarter.
Multi-Pro tailgate, available only on the next generation GMC Sierra.
Of the many forces of nature that threaten our homes, one of the most menacing strikes without warning. Sound or fury. They're termites, and they cause billions in damage homeowners insurance won't cover. Fortunately, Termador protects before termites become a problem. Because there's no forecasting when termites will strike.
Call Target Pest Control for a free termite inspection of your home. We aim to please.
With your Citizens Bank and Trust digital wallet, your busy life just got a lot less complicated. As a community bank, we know our customers. They're our neighbors and friends, and we know your banking needs. It's easy to use. Simply hold your phone up to the terminal at checkout. It's right there when you need it. No more searching for your card. Citizens Bank and Trust. Small bank, big difference. Member FDIC. Third-party fees for data, messaging, and internet may apply.
Welcome back to the Cullman Football Review. I'm Hugh Harris, and I'm here with Oscar Glasscock, and we're looking back at Friday night's trip up to Athens. And Coach, you're down 2 scores here going into the 4th quarter. You're on the road, and you got a bunch of kids banged up, so you got an uphill battle.
There's no question about it, especially when the opponent you're playing is playing well. Right. I mean, they like I said, they didn't have a turnover in the game, very few penalties, you know, and it makes it tough, and they're definitely a formidable opponent.
Well, you know, we're glad to see Athens back up to where they used to be. Those of us who've watched Cullman football a long time, going back to the old TVC, it used to be war every Friday night, no matter where you go. So
I remember when I was a young man going to Cullman games. I remember a guy named Freddie Smith, and there was a star at Auburn, and I think they won back-to-back state championships back in the 70s. And I can remember going down and seeing probably one of the biggest upsets has been this area. I remember Hanceville beat Athens. I think they were going for their 3rd straight state championship, and Hanceville and Coach Talley upset them down there in
That's
Hansville. I mean, that was a great atmosphere. Made a big impression on me.
And if you watch football on Sunday, you see Phil Rivers that graduated at Athens. And
yeah, I coached against that bunch, and I tell you, our game was a whole lot closer last Friday than that one was, and they were loaded that year.
Yeah, they had a heck of a time then. Well, let's get on into the fourth quarter and see how these Bearcats can respond here with the fourth.
Yeah, kind of backed up here, and you know, Jaden does a great job of getting out of a bad situation. This is our twin set, and we're, again, working hard on being able to throw the ball. We really like this set a whole lot. You know, that bad snap put us in a bad position right there, and man, we got to do a better job punting right there. It's just, yeah, it really puts you in a hole when you put that offense on the 50-yard line. We got to get that ball out of there. As you can see, we just, you know, that was a play, you know, Alex Shepard got banged up, and he's going to be out a couple of weeks. And, man, you know, I hate it for Alex because he's improved so much and brings such energy out there. You know, nice execution on their part. That was one of the little original RPO deals that people were doing. And Coach Gross was the offensive coordinator at UNA, and that's part of his offense. And piecing a lot on defense. Got, you know, Drew Conway's had to come in there and play linebacker, and you know, we've got a lot of guys that were, you know, a few weeks ago they're playing JV games on Monday, and now they're in there, and man, that was a killer right there. That you know, that unfortunate deal on the snap, and then, you know, our punt didn't get as far as we hoped it would, and then, you know, and we're just tough circumstance, and we got people dropping and having to sub in. You see Jamar K in there now, and you know, that's the way the Rocket's supposed to look. You know, it's a perimeter play, and you know, we're still fighting and clawing, and you had to put Jaden at fullback now, and Jalen Huey had rolled his ankle, and he's going to be out a few weeks, and it's just you know, next guy up. And I thought Jamar came in and did an outstanding job. And you know, Jamar really learned how to protect himself sometimes. He knows when to give it up. And good job by Jaden right there. And a lot of people thought that was a late hit, and it was close. But you know, the guy did push him. He was still a little bit inbounds. You know, nice improv right there. We don't really want to throw it back across her body, but sometimes it works out. Again, there's a cross option. You just see the execution there, and man, we tell the quarterback if there's any doubt, keep that thing and get north and south, and do a good job right here. Running the waggle, got to get a little more depth on our
catch.
Drag route. But man, you know, just you see what kind of athlete Jake Doolin is, and man, he works hard in that weight room, and that's what got him in that end zone right there. Is just that strength. So, you know, great job by the offense. You know, kind of keep on plugging, hanging in there, and taking it down and scoring, and really, you know, really just stopped themselves. I never really felt like they just legitimately stopped a drive, you know. And we got a little bit of scuffle in there. We're going to have to clean that up, and we certainly addressed it, and that's not going to be an issue anymore. Great sportsmanship, you know, and part of Coach Gross and their coaching staff, and man, he's really our ninth grade is going to play their really more of their JV, their ninth grade, and a couple of their 10th grade. We got that game this evening, and always look forward to competing against Athens. Like you said, there's a lot of history there, and some of the history hadn't been that kind, is what I remember. But you know, they really. You know, since, like I said, they won that championship, and Coach Creasy did such a phenomenal job up there for years and years. That this is the best team they've had up there in about, I guess that's 13 years, and so.
Well, I knew Cullman's had a pretty good run in the last 5 years up there, but they really come back with a vengeance this year.
That's right.
But 31-17, opportunity to really make it a close game and possibly win it, but a big turnover change that. But Cullman played strong and hard to the end, and you can't ask for anything more than that.
No, you know, I mean, it's people say, well, you don't want to use injuries as an excuse and things like that. But you know, let's face it, you know, certain guys that are older and stronger and faster and more experienced and things like that, I mean, they're going to be able to make more plays And when you take those guys out in the middle of a game, it's tough to replace. And you try to prepare the backups as best you can, but sometimes they're young and not as strong and not as fast. And that's the way the game goes, though. It can be very unkind sometimes. And I just know, when I look at the defensive personnel that we put out there against Jasper in that first game, and while we were still trying to get a feel for our offense, I mean, those guys were flying around really fast, and a lot of those guys just aren't out there anymore. They've had injuries, unfortunately, but now our offense has matured, and like we've talked about with the offensive linemen, they're really coming off the ball and playing well, and so they've kind of taken up that slack. But we got to get a little bit more production out of our defense, and get these guys that hadn't played as much and get them ready to play. Because I mean, we're going to Muscle Shoals this Thursday night, and number 2 ranked. They've got 2 Power 5 commitments at inside linebacker. They've got the Smothers kid that had moved from Athens that's committed to Nebraska, and this is maybe the most talented team Cullman's played, and they have more talent even than Hueytown, and so this is I'll rank our schedule up with anybody, and I think we're looking at the records. I think that the teams that we've lost to this year are about a combined 34-3, and all ranked in the top 10 or soon to be, I like the mentality that our kids they want to play football. You want to put the ball down on the tee and blow a whistle, they're going to get after it, and that's what we expect Thursday night.
And we certainly know what we're in store in Muscle Shoals. The last few years, they've just had tremendous athletes, and it's always been a tough road going up there. But I know these kids are working hard and getting ready to go.
It's football. They get a chance to play the great game of football one more time. It doesn't matter I remember Coach Yeager at Mountain Brook saying. I remember we were in the playoffs and had won a game, and first 7A victory they'd had in the playoffs. And he said, "Hey man, we're going to play a fine Thompson team the next week." And he said, "Man, I don't care if it's Thompson or the Green Bay Packers. You get one more week to play this great game." And I made a huge impression on him. He's right, and it's just one more chance. The season's kind of winding down, and you got one more chance to play this great game.
And those kids need to relish that and enjoy it, because they'll blow a whistle on their final game one of these days and look back and know really how much they miss it.
That's right. Yeah.
But we're looking forward to going to Muscle Shoals, a big challenge ahead, and that sometimes makes it a little easier to prepare. There's a little edge with Cullman there, knowing what they're up against, but we'd certainly encourage everybody to get up there on Thursday night. Should be a beautiful night, and probably the first football game weather we've had this fall. So we'd encourage everybody to get up to Muscle Shoals and enjoy a great football.
Very well said. All
right. We're going to bring this to a close, but we'll look forward to seeing you back next Tuesday night Tuesday afternoon as we look back on Cullman Muscle Shoals. That's kicking off this Thursday night in Muscle Shoals, and we'll see you back next Tuesday.
Of the many forces of nature that threaten our homes, one of the most menacing strikes without warning. Sound or fury. They're termites, and they cause billions in damage homeowners insurance won't cover. Fortunately, Termidor protects before termites become a problem, because there's no forecasting when termites will strike.
Call Target Pest Control for a free termite inspection of your home. We aim to please.
First 6-function multi-pro tailgate, available only on the next generation GMC Sierra.
At Citizens Bank and Trust, your security is our top priority. Online statements eliminate the risk of your financial information getting lost in the mail. The statement can be viewed online at home or on the go, and you'll receive your statements faster each month. Plus, Signing up is easy. At Citizens Bank and Trust, your security is our priority. Citizens Bank and Trust. Small bank, big difference. Member FDIC. Third-party fees for internet messaging and data may apply.
Welcome back to the Cullman Football Review. I'm Hugh Harris. We're brought to you by Bill Smith GMC Buick, Tradition Bank, also Target Pest Control, Cullman Power Board, and Citizens Bank and Trust. And I have a special privilege today of getting to interview Kim Hall, and I've known Kim a number of years back when she was a parent rather than a principal. And we're going to let her wear 2 or 3 hats during this interview, but one of the best things about Cullman High School is Kim Hall and the job that she does. And I hear that not only from teachers, but also students and just my personal observations. And so we'll first start with the kids. How are they doing?
Great. Great.
You had 2 come through, a football player, cheerleader, so you know that part of the game.
They're doing well. Landry just got back from Iraq a few weeks ago, so he's settling back into life around here. And Hadley is living in she's living in Birmingham, working at UAB, and I have a new grandbaby.
Oh, well, congratulations! Those are special. I got to spend last night with 3 of them at the fair, so that's fun when they get up to that age. But Kim, in talking with coaches for a number of years, I've been doing this show for a long time, but just the coaches' attitude for the job that you and the support staff at Cullman High School does for athletics. And I know you have a job balancing academics, extracurricular activities, and athletics. So how do you go about doing that, Kim?
The main thing here at Cullman High School, and I would hope at most any high school, is that we focus on the student's education first. And all of our coaches are teachers, and they're teachers first. So they place a heavy emphasis on academic achievement of our students, and that's what we spend the day on from 8 to 3, and outside of that too. But the students and the coaches focus on academic achievement, and then we focus on our extracurriculars and our athletics, fine arts and clubs and organizations, which are all part of the high school curriculum, and making sure that our students have opportunities just like this television show to participate in, so that they can go on into their future and be a well-rounded citizen.
And we're so blessed in Cullman to have all the various activities and that kids can participate in.
Absolutely.
And Cullman is a special place. Our kids, even our athletes, know that they've got a standard they've got to live up to.
That's right.
And academically, that's a standard that's not always present in other high schools.
Yeah, I think our community, our parents, our teachers, our coaches, and our sponsors make sure that we do focus on academics first. And that is a high standard to live up to, but it's been a tradition around here for a long time, and I think our students and coaches, teachers, sponsors do a good job at maintaining that expectation.
And I know the coaches really appreciate the backing that they have from the administration. Let's face it, sometimes coaches have to make hard decisions, but the administration's got to be there to support them to have an effective athletic program.
Yeah, and the main thing that we have to make that work is that we have a great staff.
That's right.
If you can hire a great staff and you have great people on board and you trust them to do their job and you know they're going to do the very best that they can do to take care of kids, then even if we make a mistake every now and then, the intent is always good.
That's right. And years ago, I was city judge, and we had some athletes that always, as usual, wanted to test the system, and we always worked with the coaches to make sure we had the best outcome for the kids, and they probably don't know or appreciate what went on at that time, but they turned out successful, and that's what you're looking for.
Absolutely.
And how do you balance the academic part with the athletics during seasons?
What we've done this year, a lot of times it's difficult for students because of the amount of time that they put in outside of the school day.
Right.
So this year we've actually changed our bell schedule a little bit, and that is primarily for us to have an opportunity for everyone to focus on academic achievement and attendance of all students. So we looked at our day over the past couple of years and tried to find minutes here and there that we could shave off and put into a Bearcat enrichment period. And we called it Bearcat enrichment because we wanted it to be a time that's enriching for our students so that teachers and students could work together to build that academic achievement, to focus on school attendance. So our students have a period each day where if they need intervention or assistance, they can go to their teacher and they can get help, they can get tutoring.
Right.
And we have someone designated for every single one of our students that will check their grades and attendance. So every student has an advocate. It might be a coach, it might be a sponsor, it might be another teacher. But every week there's a teacher on campus checking their grades and saying, how are you doing here? Do you need help in that class? Or I see you were out 2 or 3 days last week. Is there something we can help you with? So that's really been a major focus for us this year with our professional development of our teachers, the changing of our bell schedule, and just time for everyone to sit down and focus on how can we make sure that these students are becoming successful and have time to work on their homework.
That's right. And I know as a citizen of Cullman and somebody that works in the town, I have my own opinions about Cullman High School, having my kids going through the high school, but we rank so high year in and year out in the state with our academic achievement, and it just shows the hard work that goes in from Dr. Patterson on down to the teacher in the classroom and these coaches on the field.
That's right. And we have great support from our community. Parents, the business leaders in town, our local government, like you said, Dr. Patterson and the board, everyone is very supportive. If we have an idea, if we have an initiative, something that we want to try to accomplish, and we believe that's in the best interest of our students, there's always someone around to help us out.
And quite honestly, you got to have the parental backing to do that. And of course, you're going to have occasions where there's a little conflict, but all in all, basically the parents are there to support. And I know when my kids went through being the son of a teacher, you know, I knew 2 rules. You know, one was the teacher's always right, and if you question that, rule number 2, the teacher's always right. And that's the way I sort of grew up, so I didn't want to meddle in that. And it takes that community effort to have a successful educational program like we do in Cullman. And I mean, from kindergarten on up, we're recognized statewide, and we don't have the funds that some of these school systems do, but we're doing an excellent job.
We think so.
Well, we certainly appreciate the role that you play, and I know you downplay your involvement, but you're part of that success and a big part of putting a team together that makes everything work, and we appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right.
I'm proud to do it.
We're glad to have Kim Hall with us today, and she's principal at Cullman High School. And this is the Cullman Football Review brought to you by Citizens Bank and Trust, Target Pest Control, Bill Smith GMC Buick, and Cullman Power Board. And we'll see you next week.